Hello and welcome to Who Dares Rolls TV. I am your host, Mike B. It is January the something, probably the 10th, I don't know, something about that anyway. Irrelevant to what we're doing. So it's been a while since we've done a general newsy kind of catch up. I've been busy. Recently dropped was the top 10 list, my top 10 games of 2019, which was lovely for all of you. I'm currently working on the last decade. It's probably going to be 25 games because it's a big list. Don't know how I'm going to do that. Probably 2 parts. Need to look at it. Very complicated. But yes, more content is coming and lots of other stuff I promised before I still need to sit down and do. So that's all of that out of the way. So quickly then, let's have a rundown of what is going on after I've supped some coffee. Lovely. Wow. So the number one off the top of the list is we've got these 2 beauties to look at. So there's Tinderblox and Kittin from Alley Cat Games. They're great little games. I had a play of these the other day. They come into Kickstarter. I think February is when they're coming out. Just a quick rundown. There is reviews coming and stuff, but just kind of set the scene. So Kittin is a dexterity-based game, very real-time. You are stacking little cats all around the table, and there's a team play version and also individual play. But essentially, yeah, really cool little meeples. I can get them out, but you're not going to see them on this video. I'll do a video close-up. Maybe there'll be an inset shot of said kittens. But yes, you're stacking these cute little cats. You get a card, you pull, and you have to stack them. Grab them from the table and do it. And the first person to make their stack shouts meow, and that's it. And win 3 games of that, and you win the game. Team play works with teams of you doing it. Very cool, really fast. If you're a fan of dexterity sort of stuff and real time, really good fun. We had a riot with that. Highly amusing, which is very good. But Tinderblox was one. I saw this at the Tabletop Gaming Live, and I was kind of like, ooh, this is quite cool. Again, another kind of dexterity game. It's kind of like a reverse Jenga game. Essentially, you're building a campfire out of cubes and logs, brown logs, with a set of trees. So you pull a card, and it tells you what's you've got to pot onto this existing campfire. So it might be 1 cube or it might be a combination of them. And it's all done via tweezers to build it and then plop it on there. And you've got to do it without the tower collapsing, building upwards. And that is also brilliant fun. Really, we had a riot playing that. We did have much giggles. There was much swearing and much giggles when we played this the other day.
That's what I was thinking of. I mean,
it's tense.
Go get him just right. Go get the right grip.
Get it right. You can fucking do it.
Oh, that's the most stupid place ever in the world.
You're blocking my shot. You're blocking my shot.
Oh, you've
fucking done
exactly
it.
The same.
Oh, you're kidding me.
Oh, he's fucking ready to go.
Bloody hell, you gonna put that? Oh, I think we could do it.
Oh, that's not looking good. He's going for it. Oh, fucking kidding me.
No one knows the table.
Both of them are solid little games, but I mean, Kitten's really good. It's going to have it's more of a Marmite game because I think because it is this real-time snatch and grab stuff, so there is certain people who are just going to be turned off by that, but it really cute meeples, really good fun. But Tinderbox by far is the one that we really enjoyed the most. Just simple idea. When I saw it, as I say, at UK Table Gaming Live, I was smitten. Kittin, no. So yeah, really good. With full reviews coming, but just as a preview, both of them cracking little games, really good stuff. I don't believe these are actually the final. This might be the final because they're kind of quite big stuff. And so this might be the final size for these. There's component changes. It's all kind of work in progress, but as it stands, 2 very good cracking games. That's the first real, well, the first ones we reviewed for Alley Cat. I've looked at a couple of the games. Dice Hospital was really good fun. Jamie bought that and we played that. I haven't really seen any of the other stuff. So yes, as a nice opener to their range, it's great for a UK publisher to be producing stuff. We like to support UK, so it's a shame that we've taken this long to get there. But there we go. There was 2 cracking games coming out in February. There will be full reviews coming soon. Really good. Going back them in February is basically what I'm saying. You don't need to see the review at this point. They're I'm sold. Okay, there you go. Simple, but we will do them. So, news. Could do the jingle and the video thing. We'll do that. So, big news this week is FFG, if you've not mentioned it. So, Fantasy Flight Games have announced a lot of job losses. So, they've shut down their interactive, FFG Interactive, which essentially they've only produced one game, which was the Lord of the Rings living card game, the digital interpretation of that. That's been mothballed. The whole company's gone. So that's a lot to unpack. I've not played the interactive game of it, and this is where I feel that possibly they went wrong. The interactive video card game market is probably fairly cutthroat. Hearthstone probably is, I would say, is one of the bigger ones, and one I played and still play occasionally on there, and I do enjoy Hearthstone. I think where they went wrong here is that there was no free access to this game. You had to fork out and pay to get it. And much as I would have enjoyed, and I played the LCG and I quite enjoyed it, but never invested heavily because it was just like, oh, that's another cash cow, and I'm just too far behind the game on that one. It was one I was interested, actually, when I heard they were doing the interactive version of it. But as soon as you hit a paywall of you've got to buy the base game, I tuned out because I didn't really want to buy the base game. I wanted to try and see what it was like. Was it really for me? Was it something I was going to invest and play in? And I think that's what killed it, is just that no one, other than hardcore fans of the existing card game probably, and a few others by sides, it went for it, which is, my opinion, is probably what killed it, because there's just, Hearthstone's free download. You can get Hearthstone. A lot of the other ones that are out there at the moment, they're all free. Then you have add-on sales after the effect. So yeah, it's sad. I think it's some lunk-headed business decisions on FFG's part to a certain extent. What's called this. I know it really wasn't doing very well on Steam. It was at most, I think, had 200 people on there, which is shockingly bad. But I will go back to my original point now. I suspect that was down to the fact that people didn't want to pay out, I think it was $12, $13, $15 pounds for it. It's quite a substantial outlay for a game that you're also then going to, long term, be expected to pay out more for. So yeah, ouch. Okay, so that's a bad thing. By the way, there's been a lot of rumours and mongering around the thing that it was going to affect the app development of stuff like Dimensions of Madness and Journeys to Middle-earth. As far as I'm aware, they are completely separate entities. The app development teams, the guys doing the stuff for like this Magic Madness and all that sort of stuff, are not linked to these guys. These guys were just the game, Lords of the Ring game. So that is going to make no effect on that stuff, to the best of my knowledge. And also, even other news is that the entire RPG department as well has pretty much got the boot. Now, they were producing the Star Wars RPG stuff, which I've not actually played any of it, but they were doing some Fate Dice, I think it was theirs, and they did some other stuff. There's a bunch of stuff. I think they had some 40k RPG stuff. So all of that's gone as well, as far as we're aware, which is quite brutal. Don't know. Never really played any of the RPG stuff, but it's, to see it go. I mean, there's a lot of RPGs, a lot of independent stuff coming out, and Charlie, I'm sure, will have room to chime in on this on a podcast, which we will be recording hopefully next week, a podcast episode. Just calm yourselves. So yeah, anyway, that's happened. We'll see how this develops from this point onwards. So that's out of the way. Other than that, some interesting, what's more positive news, and something that's got me very excited, is that Fury of Dracula is the video game of the app. I don't know. Fury of Dracula is being re-implemented as a online or a game, a video game electronic game. Why am I having so much fucking problem with this? Okay, Fury Dracula is being brought out by Nomad Games. Basically, the guys who did the digital interpretation of Talisman. Digital interpretation, that's the word I was looking for. They're doing Fury of Dracula. I quite like Fury of Dracula. It's a game that sometimes struggles to get to the table because it's a bit of a monster. It's a bit of an evening's play. And the rule book was a bit shonky with the latest version. It's playable, but I always have to play the whole... What am I doing again? But I love the idea of the hidden characters, and Dracula, it works so well. I mean, all the interpretations of Fury Dracula have been quite cool. I quite enjoyed the most recent version. WizKids have just republished it. Anyway, all of that out of the way, Fury of Dracula is coming to our PCs and consoles, which is, I'm quite excited by that. Don't know when yet. I mean, it's only just been announced, so presumably we're looking at this year, maybe later on. Lovely. Definitely probably be with us before the Blood Rage digital version comes, whenever that is happening. So what else we got going on? River Horse have just sent me an email announcing that they are doing a Terminator Dark Fate deck buildery type cooperative deck builder game. Never saw Terminator Dark Fate. I've heard some good things about it, actually. I know it didn't do very well at the cinemas, but I think it's mainly because everyone's just kind of done with Terminator. Really love Terminator. The first two Terminator movies are brilliant. The third one... it's kind of diminishing returns. I quite had a soft spot with what Salvation was doing to a certain extent. Genesis was fucking abomination. But yeah, anyway. So Terminator, it's a weird thing because it's a franchise that should be doing so well and they've kind of just cocked it up. That's irrelevant. At some point, Dark Fate's coming out, I think, this month on Blu-ray DVD, so I may well pick it up because I'm a bit of a Terminator junkie. Love Terminator. Just annoyed that they constantly keep cocking it up. But anyway, River Horse are doing a card game of it. I don't know if we get a copy to just look at. I don't know. But there you go. Having said that, there's a bunch of other stuff coming up. I've been contacted with a bunch of publishers in the last week or so, actually, of stuff offering us stuff. So there may be some stuff we'll be looking at soon. I'm not going to say anything really at the moment because we'll see what happens. But that, even more exciting, there's a brown box came literally 20, 30 minutes ago. I have taken the advantage of cutting this bit out so that I don't lose a finger. So as I suspected, yes, cool. So what we've got in here is that's promo stuff. Stick that there. There's popcorn. So yes, stockpile. So there is the stockpile continuing corruption, which I never picked up this when it first came out, this add-on. So stockpile, if you don't know what it is, it's a really good stock market game. And I know instantly that some of you have just slipped into a coma. But I'm not a big game fan of sort of that sort of high spreadsheet gaming is what I will call it. But stockpile it's a really clever game. It's all to do with insider trading on stock market. It sounds incredibly boring and dull potentially as a thing, but actually they've somehow managed to produce a game that was really good. It plays to any sort of groups as well. You know, even family. It's a family level game you could play, but also to gamers. Simple to teach and quite simple to play, but one of those really satisfying sort of fun games. So Stockpile I loved, and it's been out of print, and they did a Kickstarter tail end of last year at some point for a final edition print of an ultimate edition, I think, of Stockpile. So if you've not played it, and I'll give you a hint here, it's going to be on my top games of the last decade. It's well worth tracking down and having a play of and getting, especially as it sounds like it's going to be going out of print at some point soon. Again, it's one that's been constantly out of print. So yeah, if you can find it and you're anyway a fan of that style of game, my tip is to probably grab it because it's really good fun. But yes, so they brought out Continuing Corruption, which was one expansion which had some dice and some bits in it, which at the time I was like, well, do I need more Stockpile? I quite enjoyed basic Stockpile. I regretted not getting it, and then it was out of print again. So they did a Kickstarter for that, and another final expansion was the Illicit Investments, which I think just adds a bunch of cards. It's just another way of tweaking it for more gamery game. So they've just turned up, which is kind of cool. They're going to land up with some promo stuff, which... There we go. Well, we'll look at that later on. The promo stuff's kind of promo stuff. So there we go. It probably brings us to the end of this little snippet, really. So there we go. Coming up in February is these games, and coming up next couple of weeks will be reviews. as I've said before, very good, worth getting anyway. Prepare yourself for backer time because they're worth grabbing. Stockpile, yay! If you can get Stockpile, I'd strongly advise you to pick it up. Good game, comes heartily recommended by us. That's it, really, I think. So there, yes, thank you for tuning in. As I say, there's a bunch of stuff coming. I'm off, not next week, the week after. I've got some time off, so hopefully I can kind of play catch up on the backlog of stuff I need to get done. Who knows? We'll see. But yes, thank you for tuning in. It's been lovely to see you again. Don't forget you can subscribe to us. Or share us even, or any of that sort of stuff. Don't forget we have a Patreon running. It'd be very nice. You can give us some money on the Patreon. It'd be good because everything costs money, you know. It's not cheap doing this sort of stuff, even though we still make it look kind of cheap. But yeah, there we go. So yeah, like, share, subscribe, blah, 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 all that sort of stuff. Brilliant. I've been Mike B. This has been Who Dares Rolls TV. We will be back soon with some lists and stuff. And look out for the podcast dropping probably in a week or so. I'm done. Good night.